Have you ever wondered how a simple family dispute can bring an entire kingdom to the brink of collapse? Welcome to the fascinating and turbulent world of Westeros, where dragons soar in the skies and palace intrigues decide the fate of millions. Today, we will dive into the story of a character who, though not the most well-known, plays a crucial role in the events that led to the Dance of the Dragons, Sir Gwayne Hightower. Picture the scene, a young knight, proud of his name and lineage, marching through the stone corridors of the Red Keep. His steps echo, mixing with the whispers and conspiracies that permeate the air. This is Gwayne Hightower, son of Otto Hightower and brother of Queen Alicent. But who is this man really? What drives him? And how did his actions help shape the fate of the Seven Kingdoms? Born in Old Town, the cradle of House Hightower, Gwayne grew up in the shadow of grand expectations. His father, Otto Hightower, was an ambitious and astute man who saw each of his children as a piece in the great game of power. From an early age, Gwayne was trained not only in martial arts but also in the subtleties of court politics. Imagine a boy, wide-eyed, watching the adults around him scheming and plotting. He absorbs every word, every gesture, like a sponge thirsty for knowledge. As he grows, Gwayne develops not only skills with the sword but also a sharp tongue and a keen sense of opportunism. But Gwayne's true test would come with the Heirs Tournament. Here, before the court and the realm, he would have the chance to prove his worth. The young knight, gleaming in his armor, mounts his steed with the confidence of one born for great deeds. Little did he know that his opponent would be none other than Prince Daemon Targaryen. Can you feel the tension in the air? The crowd holding its breath as the two knights line up for the joust? The clash of shields, the splintering of lances? On the first pass, Gwayne surprises everyone, unhorsing the formidable Daemon. The crowd erupts in applause, and for a moment, young Hightower savors the sweet taste of victory. But fate, my friends, is a cruel and unpredictable master. On the second pass, Daemon, wounded in his pride, aims low. The world seems to spin in slow motion as Gwayne is thrown from his mount, his face meeting the hard ground of the arena. The physical pain is intense, but it's the wound to his pride that will leave the deepest scar. This moment defines Gwayne in ways he himself might not fully understand. The public humiliation, the feeling of having let down his family, and above all, the bitter taste of defeat shape his character in the years to come. The arrogance that was already part of his personality crystallizes, becoming an armor against the world around him. Years pass, and the winds of change blow across Westeros. The tension between the Greens and the Blacks grows, threatening to divide the realm. It is in this volatile setting that we find Gwayne again, now a grown man, called to the capital by his sister, the Dowager Queen Alicent. Imagine the scene, Gwayne riding along dusty roads towards King's Landing, his thoughts a mix of ambition and apprehension. He knows he is being summoned to play a crucial role in his family's plans, but what exactly? Upon arriving in the capital, Gwayne finds himself in a nest of vipers. His father, Otto Hightower, has recently been replaced as Hand of the King by Ser Criston Cole. The tension is palpable, and Gwayne, true to his nature, wastes no time in showing his disdain for the new holder of the position. Can you visualize the encounter? Gwayne, with his haughty bearing and disdainful look, throwing veiled insults at Cole. His words are like carefully sharpened daggers, aimed at the pride of the new Hand of the King. It is a dangerous game he plays, but Gwayne has always been a daring player. However, Gwayne's arrogance soon collides with the harsh reality of the impending war. While he and his companions carelessly head to an inn, ignoring security protocols, danger lurks above. The sky, once clear, is suddenly obscured by the shadow of a dragon. Lady Baela Targaryen, mounted on her formidable moondancer, circles above them like a vulture eyeing its prey. It is Ser Criston Cole, the man Gwayne so readily despised, who perceives the imminent danger. Imagine the panic, the sheer terror that grips Gwayne at that moment. The roar of the dragon echoes in his ears, the heat of its flames almost palpable. In an instant, all his arrogance vanishes, replaced by a primordial fear. It is Cole who saves the day, ordering the group to seek refuge in the nearby forest. Gwayne, the once proud knight, now runs desperately for his life, the reality of war finally hitting him in all its brutality. This moment is a turning point for Gwayne. Confronted with his own mortality, he is forced to reassess his priorities and behavior. The gratitude he offers to Cole, though reluctant, is a first step towards humility. But what does the future hold for Gwayne Hightower? How will this man, shaped by ambition and pride, navigate the turbulent waters of the approaching civil war? Will he find redemption, or will his pride lead him to ruin? As the Dance of the Dragons unfolds, Gwayne finds himself increasingly entangled in the events that will shape the fate of Westeros. His loyalty to House Hightower and the cause of the Greens is unwavering, but as the conflict intensifies, he is forced to confront the consequences of his choices and actions. Imagine Gwayne in the halls of the Red Keep, participating in war councils, his voice joining the chorus of those clamoring for Aegon II's crown. His eyes gleam with the prospect of glory and power, but is there also a shadow of doubt? A twinge of fear for what is to come? As battles ensue and blood stains the fields of Westeros, Gwayne finds himself increasingly immersed in the brutality of war. He, who once dreamed of the glory of tournaments, now faces the harsh reality of battlefields. The sound of steel against steel, the cries of the dying, the smell of burnt flesh, all become his new reality. But it is in moments of quiet, in the lonely nights at his camp, that we see a different side of Gwayne. Imagine him sitting by the fire, eyes lost in the dancing flames. What thoughts cross his mind? Regret for missed opportunities? Fear of what tomorrow may bring? Or perhaps, just perhaps, a glimpse of understanding about the futility of all the struggle for power? As the war progresses, Gwayne is forced to make difficult choices. Loyalty to family or to the realm? Honor or survival? Each decision shapes him, transforming him from an arrogant young man into a war-hardened man. In a crucial moment of the war, Gwayne finds himself face to face with an enemy he once considered an ally. The clash of their swords echoes the internal conflict raging within him. In this life-or-death moment, what thoughts cross his mind? Memories of his childhood in Old Town? Dreams of glory that now seem so distant? Or perhaps the late realization that, in the end, all are pawns in a much larger game? The outcome of this confrontation will not only seal Gwayne's fate, but also have ramifications that will echo throughout the kingdom. Will he emerge victorious, cementing his place in Westeros history? Or will he fall, becoming yet another name on the long list of victims of this bloody war? As the Dance of the Dragons approaches its climax, Gwayne finds himself at a crossroads. The choices he made, the alliances he forged, all converge at this moment. The weight of history rests on his shoulders, and the consequences of his actions will shape the future of the Seven Kingdoms. Imagine Gwayne standing on the battlements of a castle, watching the burning horizon. Dragons circle the sky, their shadows dancing over the devastated land. In this moment of contemplation, what epiphanies cross his mind? Does he finally understand the true cost of the power he fought so fiercely for? Gwayne Hightower's journey is a microcosm of the Dance of the Dragons itself. Ambition, pride, loyalty, and betrayal, all these elements intertwine in a complex tapestry of intrigue and conflict. Through his eyes, we witness the unfolding of a tragedy that will consume a dynasty and forever change the face of Westeros. But Gwayne's story does not end with the war. His legacy, whether of glory or infamy, will echo through the ages. Songs will tell of his deeds, books will record his decisions, and his name will be remembered, for better or worse, as one of the key players in this epic drama. And so, we come to the end of our journey through the life of Ser Gwayne Hightower. A complex man, shaped by his circumstances, his choices, and the relentless wheels of history. His story reminds us that in the great game of Thrones, even the most skilled players can become pawns of fate. But one final question remains, hanging in the air like smoke after a great battle. If you were in Gwayne's place, facing the same choices, the same challenges, what would you do differently? And more importantly, what would those choices reveal about you? As the flames of war die down and the dust settles over a transformed kingdom, Gwayne Hightower's story remains a testament to the complexity of human nature and the relentless power of circumstances. His name may not be the first remembered when speaking of the Dance of the Dragons, but his impact, his choices, and his legacy will continue to resonate through the corridors of time. And so, we close this chapter of Westeros' history, but the questions it raises remain. In a world where dragons dance in the skies and power is a deadly game, who truly controls destiny? The players or the game itself?